Hey YouTube, this is Wrestling Amusement Park Fan 62. Uh, I'm going to review the best I can the Ghostbusters movie, Afterlife. Now, please note this: I am going to try to describe it the best I can. So let's get started. Now, the movie starts off with this guy in a truck, speeding and busting through a fence to go to a mine, coming out of a mine. And so he got to this like old house. Looks like something you'd find on the back lot of like a Universal Studios park. And then there was this unknown entity that flipped the truck. He ran with this thing in his hand. He went into this old house, sat in a chair, and basically a hand came out of the chair and basically killed him. Now, according to the movie, he said he died of a heart attack, but who knows if that's true. So, fast forward to this town um, where this mother and her two kids, one is 12 and another one is at least 15, 16. Um, and so they get evicted from their apartment due to not paying rent. Now, I'm not entirely sure because it doesn't really go into detail about how much they're backed up in rent and stuff like that, but that's not really important. So they get evicted, so they go like I think it's like 3 hours or 4 hours away from their house to this town called Somerville, and it looks a lot like a small town USA. So it has like a diner, it has Main Street, a hardware store, stuff like that. So they get to the house, and it looks weird. So it has like a lot of these old sign or metal sheets with stuff painted on it, some old cars, stuff like that. And so they get to the house, and then they're kind of like, "What's going on here?" And so they go in the house, and they're kind of like, "Why are we here?" And so eventually, the mom tells them that we got evicted, so we live here now. Okay. So they try to get comfortable in the house, and they start to do try and get used to it. Well, the sister, who's 12, um, I will put the names down below as well of all the characters' names um, and who they're played by. As anyway, the sister finds this thing under a chair. Um, and it lights up right away. So she wasn't sure what it was. So she took it to her room. And so the mother, so they all went to this diner style place, but it's like it looks like a combination of like a diner and something like a Sonic drive-in. And so the boy, the brother, filled out an application to work there, and he he got the job, and so he was having to do a lot of tedious tasks, such as count hamburger patties and mop the floor, stuff like that. So one of the waitresses who's working there asked him if he wanted to go to the mountain. Um, he said sure. So they went in two old cars. It was a old Ford F-150 and a Ford El Camino, I think it was. Anyway, um, so they got there and they got on this, and all the other guys were having fun. So him and the girl sat on what looked like a swing thing. So they started to hear this noise, and they felt um, it move a little. So they looked. So they got off and they looked down, and it was like a red and black smoke with a head, basically. Um, and that's going to play a key role in this. So, while that's going on, the sister is going to summer school. Um, and so they meet the teacher, and so he's like, basically, the teacher's like, I'm not entirely sure why I'm here. Um, so here's a movie to watch. So they watch some older movies such as Chucky. Now, which Chucky, I don't know. And then something else. And so while that's going on, um, the girl and the teacher were talking about electronic um, frequencies and stuff like that. So one day at school, she brought this thing in. Nobody knew what it was, so they hooked it up to the teacher's car as well as a school bus and to power it. So they finally opened it, and there was this wolf thing that came out of it and went away. Meanwhile, it caused quite a bit of damage to the bus, uh, his car, the teacher's car, and stuff like that. And so finally, the brother, the sister, the friend of the sisters who she met through summer school, and um, the girl from the boys' work rushed home to find their mother sitting in a chair, mumbling random things. And she was acting a lot like a dog. So she basically bust through a window and went running somewhere. Now, meanwhile, that is going on. The night before at a Walmart, how they got that sponsorship, I have no idea. Uh, the the teacher was basically going to try and make, an ice cream sundae. So as he had his ice cream and chocolate syrup in his hand, um, he started to notice one of the marshmallow bags opening. So yeah, okay. So basically, all the bags opened up, and they were little mini marshmallow men. They look similar to the Marshmallow Man from the original Ghostbusters movie. And so as he was running, he ran into like a, I don't know what it was exactly. It was like a giant creature thing, lizard creature, who was eating dog food. So he basically, the teacher threw the ice cream and stuff at him, and he ran. So he ran over displays for clothing and stuff like that. So he ran out of Walmart, and it basically, the creature thing bust the door down. So he got to his car. The creature got on top of the hood, and I don't know what it did from there. Well, the mother, when she ran to the mountain, which plays a key role in this. Because the mother and the teacher went to third base. That's all I'm going to say about that. Because they went on a date and it didn't quite go as planned. And so while this is going on, the kids rode around in a old um, ghost mobile, and so unfortunately, one of the ghosts who got out was eating everything. So he ate halfway through a stop sign. He was eating. He went through a trash can, so forth, and so they found him at a eating on a fire hydrant. So they tried to blast him the best they could. Well, they finally got him, but they also destroyed half of the city as well. And so as they were coming back, they got stopped by the police and um, got pulled over for not having a license, not having insurance, and some other stuff. So they ended up in jail. Well, the boy found out that his crush, um, her dad, was the police chief, and so that was a surprise. So now, after that, later on, they burst into the prison or the jail to retrieve their ghost busting stuff. And so, unfortunately, in order to get to that, they had to open up the thing that they got the ghost in that ate through a stop sign and stuff. So they let him out, and he ate through the bars and stuff. Where he went from there, I'm not entirely sure. But so then they were preparing for war, so to speak. And they basically, so at their house, basically, it was the brother, the sister, the small kid, and the girl the guy liked from the diner. So, um, the sister was trying to lure the girl, or the woman, I should say, from the original movie back to the house. So they finally were able to get her there. Now, meanwhile, this is going on. Um, the mother and the boyfriend, or whatever you you want to call them in this movie, were like gargoyle, guard dog things. I'm not entirely sure what you would call them. They're kind of like what they were in the original Ghostbusters movie. Um, and unfortunately, at the while they were also in prison, I forgot to mention this as well. He also called, well, the sister called one of the original Ghostbusters. I cannot think of who it was. It was played by. He's been in a lot of different movies. Anyway, they called one of them, and so they finally got all of them together. So at the house, um, basically the the gargoyle things and the woman from the original movie showed up, and she's basically like was basically like, "Are you asking yourself to die?" and stuff like that. So, um, basically, uh, the brother, the sister, and the girl that he liked were all using their ghost thing gun to try and fight it. Well, unfortunately, the kid who was in the ghost mobile, he was trying to get that his working, but the mini marshmallow men were eating all of the wires and stuff, so he was trying to figure that out. So, unfortunately, they were able to get the mom out from being the gargoyle, but then when that happened, the girl who the brother liked got turned into one. So, after that happened, the Ghostbusters from the original Ghostbusters movie came. Uh, so you had Bill Murray, the black guy, and I think his name is Dan Atton, and the other guy. So, they were blasting him too, along with the the brother, or no, and the sister. But one of, I will say, the cool effects they had in this movie was the person who died at the beginning of the movie. His ghost was helping the sister um, with the gun. So finally, the sister yelled for the mom to flip the switch. So she flipped the switch, and it, there wasn't enough power. So somehow they were able to power that. So when they put the pedal, all of the many um, portals they that was buried um, opened, so that sucked basically all the ghosts that was roaming down, along with the woman from the original Ghostbusters movie, the gargoyles. They basically died, and then that was it. And so then so once all those were done, you all you saw was like a sea of blinking red lights. So from there, the mother saw the dad basically and hugged him, and then he kind of faded up. So the original Ghostbusters were, like, thank you for calling and stuff like that. And basically, they took the original Ghostmobile to get refurbished, and then the ending credit was the Ghostbusters mobile going across one of the bridges to go into New York City. Um, and that's the end. Now, one of the effects I liked that they had in the movie, too, I forgot to mention as well, was a couple of scenes that showed the sister looking at old commercials and stuff of the Ghostbusters um, at their firehouse from YouTube. So that was kind of neat as well. Now, overall, this movie is 2.5 hours long. It is a good movie overall, um, but it is hard to follow as well because you have to really pay attention to it. And, but I do recommend it.